La memoria colectiva es un término propuesto por el filósofo y sociólogo Maurice Halbwach. Este término hace referencia a los recuerdos y memorias que atesora, destaca y tiene significado en la sociedad. La memoria colectiva es compartida, transmitida y construida por el grupo o sociedad. La memoria colectiva está relacionada con fenómenos de opinión pública, con el significado de acontecimientos por los que atraviesa un grupo o sociedad y que al paso de los años se recordará. Se recuerda lo que para un grupo representó o representa tal acontecimiento, lo que contiene, lo que presenta como punto de apoyo, lo que permite permanencia en significados de los eventos vivenciados, es lo que se denomina marcos sociales de la memoria. El marco es lo que contiene, mantiene y permite limitar e inscribir lo que a un grupo le interesa. El tiempo. A la configuración de la memoria contribuyen los marcos sociales, tal como el tiempo o las fechas, las cuales guardan momentos significativos para ser recordados posteriormente. Las fechas son tiempos de la memoria que posibilitan que una sociedad se conciba con tradición, pasado e identidad. El espacio. Los lugares traen recuerdos. Los grupos dejan sus huellas en los sitios que ocupan y modifican sus lugares para sus vivencias. Cada sociedad configura el espacio a su manera, y de esta manera encierra y encuentra recuerdos. En los lugares los grupos viven su realidad, y allí dan significado a sus experiencias. Es precisamente por eso que se construyen monumentos o placas conmemorativas en lugares significativos. En los lugares se configuran y almacenan los recuerdos.
Develop this idea. It was in a very at an auspicious moment, or a critical historical moment, I would call it. It was a moment when, on the one hand, the historical time frame in which we had grown up was dramatically changing. I have become aware of this only lately and wrote a book on the decline and of this, what I call the modern time regime. The modern time regime is, in short, a form of being oriented in time that expect everything from the future, is always looking into the future and forgetting the past. The past is no longer of any value. Now, this was clearly no longer the case in the 80s, when suddenly the past was coming back in a dramatic way, especially in Germany, but not only in Germany, but also in many other countries. It had to do with the 40 years of commemoration of the end of the Second World War. It had to do with the Germans entering a new European memory, getting out of their very confined German memory. And it had also to do with the debate of historians concerning the Holocaust, the evaluation of the Holocaust as an epochal moment in history, and the return of so many testimonies of Holocaust survivors. So the past was actually coming closer to us as we are getting into a longer and longer distance from it. So this was the moment when, of course, we became very aware that memory is something that is being changed, And that is also very important. It's something that is not only in the past, but also has to be taken along into the future, because this was this whole debate about this is a moment that we should no longer forget, and we have to project into the future and to transmit. So that was one aspect. The other aspect was that in the 80s also there was a profound media change. And the media change had to do with becoming familiar with the new digital mode of encoding. And it was the moment when the PC started to become a tool that was also used for private and scholarly and no longer only for military purposes. So it was another revolution of media, which also happened at the same time. So I think this was an auspicious moment for the concept of cultural memory to be born and developed.
There are two crucial factors, it seems to me. The first concerns what is usually referred to as the accelerations of history. The notion that the most continuous or permanent feature of the modern world is no longer permanence or continuity, but change, an increasingly rapid change. We must take the measure of this change for the way in which memory is organized. It is of crucial importance, for it has shattered the unity of historical time, that fine, straightforward linearity which traditionally bound the present and the future to the past. It was the idea a society, nation, group, or family formed of its future that determined what is needed to remember of the past, to prepare that future, and this in turn gave meaning to the present, which was merely a link between the twin. But the sheer uncertainty that now weighs on the future placed the present, which for this reason no doubt has unprecedented technical means of conservation at its disposal, and is itself obsessed with the idea of lost under the obligation to remember. It obliges us to stockpile, as it were, in a pious and somewhat indiscriminate manner, any visible trace or material sign that might eventually testify to what we are or what we will have become. In other words, it is the end of any kind of teleology of history, the end of a history whose end is known, that burdens the present with this urgent duty to remember, devoir de mémoire, that is so much talked about.